My name is Micaiah Stevens. This is the Hamlet development log number 1 for Hamlet. Is being a game being developed by Haven Studios, and it's available now on Steam. Haven Studios has a public email for Micaiah Stevens. That's me. You can reach me at support@havenstudios.net, or just leave a comment in the YouTube video. I'm very open to contact. Anyway, so Hamlet, where are we? Well, it's February the 2nd, 2019. We now have fancy graphics. Ooh. So we're in the point 0.8 live branch, which shipped today. It should be noted that this is actually meant to be the version 0.08 pre-alpha. It was just a little bit of a bug that we noticed in the last devlog. Anyway, so we are now on the version 0.9 on the beta branch. And then we're currently working on the version 0.10 alpha branch, as we're calling it, and more on that later. And that we should be getting started back on that on Monday, even though we included quite a few features this week. We sort of have to work on some of that later. Anyways, so we have Hamlet on Steam. We wanted to show you an adventure demo on Steam. Which is show you the demo of how to get into the beta branch, and then play a little bit of the adventure mode, which is over here. It should be noted, if you double click on Hamlet, it just loads up once you own the game, which is kind of crucial, because to get into the beta branch, you right click and go properties, as everybody should know, but just in case, and then you click on the beta branch. It's really cool. It kicks off this download, which is only 2 megabytes at this point. But anyways, just 1 second. Lots of stuff happening around here, apparently. That downloads the beta branch, which is great. It's pretty awesome. It's only 2 megabytes. Again, that's handled by Steam. And then we still have this. We're still not sure what to do with this, but if you click play now, it says, hey, it doesn't know what to do. But you need to say, hey, click on, I want to play the beta branch, and then that kicks off that, and then you can play. It's just how Steam does their, and anyway, so we got these new fancy graphics. That's really awesome. Anyways, we do realize that one of the things about the menu is that it's not very, like, you can't hit up and down arrow, or, it's all mouse driven, so, excuse me. Anyway, so we have this, everything's sort of the same, except we have this new adventure mode. Adventure mode is, if you're familiar with Dwarf Fortress, they have an adventure mode in there, so we thought, hey, adventure would be a great idea. Anyways, we're on the 0.9 on the beta branch. Anyways, so we just say we want to start an adventure. Hey, we didn't start with a tree generation on top of us. Anyways, so a few things I should talk about first. Like, if this is how you start out, you hit W to move forward, S to move back. You can strafe kind of with A and D, so A to go left, D to go right. You can also use Q and E, which I should probably update the patch notes. This is one of our new pathers. He always says moving in 1. We'll have to update that. He's basically taken about a second to move. Anyways, and then eventually he'll start working for a random amount of time. It's just time.delta time counting down. It's kind of a future plan. We have this greeter now that we're calling him. In a future update, we'll probably call him Micaiah. Anyways, who says, welcome stranger, you can hit accept. We're also talking about doing a quest where you can actually come up and say, hey, where'd you get that fancy axe with G? And then you'll say, where did you get the fancy axe? And you'll say, go, get the chest. Anyways, you pick up the axe and in the chest and adventure mode. And you can see how the sand is actually really cool, but there's a bug with our chunks right now in our world that it doesn't actually load correctly. So you can just walk up and you move into objects or run into them, or whatever you want to call it, interact, and then we can chop down the tree as normal, or chop down lots of trees actually now. Now we're out of energy, so we come back over here and we have the hey, you can sleep here icon. Sleep in the river. And then the other thing too, the last thing to point out is if you hit X, you actually will gain energy in adventure mode, maybe with the sleeping bag or something. We felt like the world was kind of big enough that if you're out and about and you're chopping down trees, you can actually just sort of, there's no cooldown for any of this. Is that tree? Anyway, so that's pretty much the Steam demo, and then we can go back to the main menu and we're back into the adventure mode. This is kind of a lot of work needs to be done with this menu, but we felt it was good. And also, I guess I didn't. This Hamlet is stretched a little bit and it's sort of pixelated. We need to improve that. But anyways, so that's the .09 beta branch. Yeah, for Hamlet on Steam. So thank you. Anyway, so we are now into the introduction. You are here. So we talked a little bit about Steam. We're doing an introduction. Then we have our fun bug, is our talking about our chunk generation. We have a little bit of interesting things to try to test. We've got the DevLog delays. It's an interesting topic we're going to talk about. And then we got some more DevLog inspiration I want to call out specifically. Anyways, we got future plans is now coming soon. And that also means the roguelike version 0.9 is now called adventure mode. And it's doing engines. Yeah, that's the joy. I'm sorry, I'm gonna let that one fly, I guess. English is definitely not my strong suit. Anyways, you got branches. So, hey, you don't know if my dungeons are actually a secret way to say dungeons. You don't know. Anyways, we're going to talk about chunk generation now. We have a test feature here we're going to test out. If it works, it's great. We also need to record less stuff when we do some of these. We're kind of and this is kind of the first take of this, and so hopefully we'll do a little bit more to kind of showcase. In development, we can't set aside a certain set of a Unity environment. We could, but we're not going to set aside a whole Unity environment just to do some of these awesome videos. So we have a video to show, and here it is. So I'm going to mute myself and play the video, and I'm gonna listen to it a couple times, and then if this is live, then it works. But let me know in the feedback if you're not happy with how this turns out, because it's kind of a test feature. Hello, I am Micaiah Stevens from Haven Studios. We're doing a little bit of devlog for Hamlet. We are working on the chunk feature, so when we kick this chunk off, it loads the node world at 0.7 seconds, and then the node world takes a full 3 seconds to load. We can see now that we are in the current chunk. The chunk is 0, 0, 0. It's at the depth of 1, and it's the map. Node chunk is the name of the chunk. And then we move just a little bit, and we can see that we are at a player distance. If the player distance is over 3, we ask the chunk to reload the chunk. So that should give us enough room to hopefully give a new chunk in. We also kind of want to point out too, we've did a slight upgrade to one of our debugging systems. It's kind of a future. So we have anyways, we create the map. And then it's unable to find the chunk that seems to be new, but anyways, it's creating the map change, which is part of the notifying them the map has changed through neighbors association. And then this is the important part here where it says node world. These are just unique names that we've come up with. Node world just signifies that the node, the world is loaded for the first time. And then world start, the full world start takes 0.7 seconds. This is the number we're quite concerned with right now, is this world generation. That is the time from the world boots up and sets everything up on the first awake. Then we feel at that point the game is officially starting to run, and we're counting down this time for that to run, and it's taken 3 seconds, which isn't actually horrible. It's like 1001, 1002, 1003. But when we're not loading a lot of data, and we feel that we can get that down. But Quill18 is kind of famous for saying, a lot of people are famous for saying, but premature optimization leads to bad things. So to paraphrase, anyway, so we continue to unable to find the chunk, and there again, capital H. Unfortunately, there are some things that are like crucial in programming, and other things that are not. Apparently, oh yeah, okay, so this is actually a good sign that we're actually trying to look for chunks. It's giving us the chunk data. I think part of the problem is when you look at the chunk, the chunk controller is not loading the chunk, so that's one of our next goals. So anyways, it's meant to be a short, quick thing, and so we're going to end the video here. So thanks for checking out Haven Studios for Hamlet. I'm Micaiah Stevens, and this is part of our devlog, sort of showcasing some of these early works. I think what is this? It's Tuesday, so we're kind of in our just the start of our work week, and we kind of put this has kind of been we're working on a lot of the roguelike, and we thought this would be a really good feature to focus on. You take care. Thank you for checking out that video. There was if you notice the adventure mode that is having that chunk, we've obviously got it down to now it's almost instant when it loads. We have a little bit more work to do with the chunks, but they're pretty good. Anyway, so when we talk about the next thing is the devlog delays. So probably once everything settles down, this will be a lot easier. We recorded I'll have to, maybe I'll pull up a calendar again. We recorded let's see, back here. We recorded everything on the 21st ish. No, on the 20. Yeah, we recorded the devlog 0 on the 28th, or the 20 between the 21st and the 28th, I think somewhere in there, which is when we kicked off our week. But then we kind of felt like we needed a channel update video out, so that's the channel update went out on the 1st, I believe. So now we wanted some time between our channel for our channel, the Micaiah Stevens YouTube channel, which is where you're at, and then so on the 1st, as we're going to release this video, and then we have the 4th, I mean, is we'll have a release of this video, and then the tentative plan is to release the 11th for that work week. So part of the problem here is that this work week was finished on the 1st, and then we did a Steam update on the 2nd to push the beta branch. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And now we're already recording for the 4th. We were going to put out the first devlog video on the 4th, so this one won't be out till the 11th, so almost a week delay. So I'm sure it's a common problem people have to deal with, but it's just something yeah. So anyway, so then this will be released on the 11th. Let's see. Anyway, so I thought I'd cut this out, but so right now we're on 0.8 for the live, 0.9 for the beta, and alpha pretty soon. Anyway, so we want to talk about more devlog inspirations. We already talked about Thin Matrix and Equilinox, but we also wanted to call out, again, I think I mentioned this. I was confused, but Stephen Barr is really awesome, and he's got this devlog journey, and one of the things is the wheel in the sky keeps turning, so pretty awesome. So there's now going to be talking about this in development. It's not promised. It's always the caveat you got to put on some of these things. So it was the future plans, and now it's called coming soon. We're talking about the roguelike, which is now the adventure mode, and now we're working on point 10 for this the week from the 4th to the 11th. So which will be part of devlog 2. Anyways, so we're going to find a workaround from between on 0.9, and then we'll be by 0.10 by this video goes live. There is YouTube's on my gaming channel. I noticed YouTubers viewers kind of lag behind, so it's like they're not always like walking this. So after a while, maybe it's not a big deal. I guess we're going to be talking about branches. We have 3 separate branches we're talking about doing. We have what we're calling the live branch. This is sort of the release, maybe you could call this. Live sort of signifies an online service, so release might be a better word, but live is simpler. Anyways, the live branch just says, hey, the 0.8 is the current live branch, and that's the game where it sits. And then we have a beta branch, and we're talking about an alpha branch. We looking at it, we haven't seen if this is possible, and maybe it would sort of hit the Steam servers and updates too often, but if we push out the live branch every couple weeks, every month or so, that'd be awesome. And then we're talking about doing a beta branch every couple weeks. Like for instance, right now the beta branch shipped the adventure mode, and there's several concerns we had with the beta branch. Various things were not quite the world generation was sort of, we took a step back in a couple areas because we were getting chunks in place, and that affected all three this campaign, sandbox, and adventure mode, and so we'll have to sort of adjust that as we go. Anyway, so the alpha branch though is we're we're talking about weekly updates with our current schedule. People have asked us to do weekly updates, especially in early access, because you can see it sort of moving forward. Maybe I'll have to take a month off, or it depends on like one of the updates. I think hopefully we'll talk about this soon. The dungeon update is being could possibly be delayed because it's not quite ready to implement. We have a demo project which is it's sort of testing out the features, and so we could think about pushing out this weekly update. It was a little bit more difficult to get updates out, but now it's getting easier and easier. So maybe we'll think about that. We are going to be talking about the point zero. So this is the coming soon. We have dungeons. So we have a overworld in our game, and that includes things where you can cut down trees, collect resources, and then delve into a dungeon eventually. So this week, a little bit of that's sort of it too. Like, even though this is slated for the 4th to 11th to be worked on some more, we'll play it by ear. I think there's a lot of things we need to do, but we worked on stair generation and fog of war, and then so maybe and that's sort of a lot of these dungeon features are great, but they're not ready to go into the main branch yet. So to the beta branch yet. So we might have to work on those, a few updates. So that might include some beta branches. Okay, so I guess that's the coming to the end of this. So we were at the introduction. We talked about I guess I didn't include did the Steam demo. Then we talked about the DevLog delays. That this is a little bit delayed. We talked about some of the DevLog. Oh, there's Steam. I moved things around obviously a little bit, and then there's chunks, which is now chunk generations. And then we'll have future plans is coming soon, and then the coming soon is including the roguelike, and that includes branches. So I'm Micaiah Stevens. This is this is the devlog for Hamlet, being developed on Haven Studios on Steam. Haven Studios, again, you can reach me at support@havenstudios.net or leave a comment. And we're talking about a Haven Studios Discord. We have one already. We've been updating it and sort of pushing stuff out there. There's a few features. There was a kind of a bug. Well, it was an issue early on where it's like it was posting to everybody. We don't like that on Discord, so we were kind of getting. I think one of the big concerns about pushing this out is it's just me over there. It feels kind of lonely, but maybe and we're not saying, hey, come over and contact me, because it's quite busy. But I definitely I'm on quite a few Discords, and I do spend a lot of time trying to help people and talk to people, but. Anyways, it might be easier to get a little more direct feedback, or just through the devlog as well. So that's the end of the devlog. So thanks very much. We will put out another one again. Hopefully, I'll have a little bit more context. This one feels kind of short, but I do want to keep them down short. Under 20 minutes. Under 20 minutes. That doesn't sound like a Micaiah Stevens devlog, or video, but thanks. There's a whole bunch of links in the description for other. Content and things, including the Steam page and my gaming channel if you want to check those out. But my kind of primary focus is kind of switching to this, and there's the channel update showcases some of the things I want to do there. Anyways, you take care. Thanks very much.